the CIO thing. 3, 2, 1, bing, 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 and we're live. It's Sam and it's Charles, and I guess we're almost calling it the website too, client meeting. But yeah, so Charles and I are just discussing. Yeah, the CIO application has been acknowledged. We're waiting for feedback from the government. Main topic on the agenda today, Charles, you were just mentioning the playbook that you've worked on, and I can see you've done a lot of work on that. It's great. You've really thrown yourself into it. Let me see if now, what is it? It's not in there. It's in the pages, isn't it? Let me go and find the relevant document. Here we go. Yes, I think this is the one. Yes. Yes. So I mean, I'm very impressed with the work that you've been putting into it. Yes, and I've kind of now. I mean, I didn't do. You've got that annex section where maybe we need to add more on our approach to software development. But I kind of.
Yet the version I just sent you yesterday, version 3.
Let's have a look. Yes, I had not actually opened that one. I was just looking at the spreadsheet you sent me this morning.
Okay.
Yes.
Well,
but yeah, okay.
3.
Here we go.
I mean, the good thing about version 3 is that really I've just I've accepted all the changes you've proposed. I think. Yeah?
Yep.
It's just a little bit of tidying up. But I mean, let's just talk about it in principle then. I mean, the task was made massively easier by the fact that ThoughtBot had done theirs already. Obviously, I didn't want to use any of their words, but the sentiment of the whole thing made it
absolutely.
And I could just look at a section and say, hey, I can do well. Actually, some of our sections are better than theirs. Yeah?
Sure.
And you've been through it, and you've made some changes.
Yes.
So in principle, where we are, I liked it at the start. It seems if you're pretty good with it. So we're in principle we're pretty well there or thereabouts, are we?
I think we're certainly going in the right direction. I mean, I think there were a few sort of key changes that I was saying in terms of rather than saying cost less, to focusing on more affordable.
The principle of the thing, you're pretty good with, or do you have any outstanding concerns?
I think as far as the guide goes, this is, you asking me, how do I feel about the overall structure? I mean, I think in terms of the, the particular ordering of the things and whether this is the best way to sell it, I don't know. But I can see what you've done is you've been researching, the agile method and story points and things in the background. And I think, we're definitely moving towards, a statement of how we work that you and I would generally agree on. Yes.
Okay. Because I think the thing is, in terms of the minimum viable product type of approach.
Yes.
With some of these things, I've worked with people before where they like to fiddle around with words for days, and I don't feel myself that there's a lot of, by fiddling around with the words, I don't feel at this stage we're going to make much progress.
Agreed.
Where we will make progress, when we talk to real customers and they say, this section here, what the hell are you guys playing at? This just doesn't work. This
sure, absolutely.
I say, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Tell me more. Yeah. The only section I think that we need you need to think about is the technical section.
Yes.
Now, for me, the technical section, not adding much to the sales story of this.
No.
I'm not so bothered about it, but you may feel that the stuff here that is relevant to the sort of people you want to talk to, in which case, by all means, edit it and have something like that. Or do we want to just sort of go with this and look at anything else adding later?
Well, I mean, I've got a section on more technical stuff, which is more targeted towards the project managers and people that we're working with and so on. I mean, and that can be bigger or shorter. I mean, I think I can, I will add that in. The question is whether you, what date we want to set by which that needs to be added in by. But that's, I think, we talked previously about, you were keen on a June the 13th release, which I think due to my illness and then also the work from the course that we have starting, I think it's probably not practical to everything that's already by
that date was pretty tight anyway. So I'm getting these dates from my wife, who's sort of interested in these things. So the next date is the 8th of July.
Oh, okay.
So
yes, well, I think that's perfectly reasonable. I think we can say that by the 8th of July, I will certainly add at least a several paragraph section on the technical thing, because I think it's also something that we need to do on our side, even if there was no one else looking at this document, externally. So I'm very happy to agree to doing that by July the 8th, if not a lot sooner, so that you can review it.
Yeah, that's it. That'd be great. I mean, the sales messages are in the stuff we've got already.
Yeah.
So as I'm concerned, the section here more about software development, it doesn't mean a great deal to me. But if you want to add some stuff in, I mean, you clearly, if you want to add some stuff in here that appeals to the technical people, then that's great. If you've got the section there, that's great. Just pop it in. Job done. Yeah.
We'll do. Yes. I mean, the only thing that that I was going to mention is, you've gone in a few places with things of saying like, if at any point people don't wish to proceed further, and things like refunding the cost of the Inception workshop. Yes, it's sort of at the end of the day, if you think these are the things that have to be in there in order to make the sale, but I think, the idea with the Agile is not so much, work terminates at any point, but the idea is that there's, if we've agreed for, you'll have 3 weeks of our time, say, then, that's the agreement. And the agreement is about, we're going to attempt to, do this work over the 3 weeks and we'll deliver a certain number of story points. But sort of, anyway, I mean, do you, I guess I was making comments on some of these things. You're keen to keep them in as you had them?
Well, just working out what's happened here, because the version I sent you, I edited to basically incorporate your comments. I'm just wondering what's happened. I've deleted that. Yeah, I'm proposing.
Okay. So I think that may be a reflection here of the transformation backwards and forwards between the conversion that it does between doc and pages. Whenever I open a doc thing on my side, it gets converted into pages. So
my understanding, this is keep that page there, because this for me, this thing you've highlighted is the only substantive thing we need to discuss.
Okay.
Right? And as far as I'm concerned, with everything else, you've made comments and I've made changes.
Okay.
You made the point about the open APIs.
Right.
So I've deleted that. I've shuffled some other stuff around. So basically, as far as I'm concerned, I've reflected changes on what I believe all of you made. Sure. And then this one we need to talk about here. And the reason we need to talk about this page 20, the guarantee, you can't see the comment I've put in there for some reason. But the comment I made is that... there we go. Yeah. So, that's the argument there. That basically, guarantees are, in terms of online selling, guarantees are good. The chances of being having to pay up on a guarantee is felt to be low. And what I'm suggesting here is if you're not comfortable with it, what I'm suggesting is, look, let's take it out at the moment, and then if someone's really nervous, then we can say, we can pop this, we can add this in.
That seems to, no, I take the point. I think that's the way to go. I mean, I think in terms of, it's like everybody offers free estimates, don't they? For things, and that's.
This is different. This is
another level. I mean, this is sort of like, this is a money back guarantee where we've committed to. I mean, particularly I'm seeing the Inception workshop as a full day, and I think that's the kind of thing, is that potentially once we're up and running, yes, it will. Yeah, so I'm agreeing with you. Yeah, I think what you say is let's take this out for the moment, and we'll add this if we get the sense from customers that this is what's stopping them, going forward. Then we'll want to add it back in.
Okay. So the other thing about the Inception workshop is that my understanding of this is that basically the Inception workshop is the day, but it's also part of the cost of the workshop is you developing the software afterwards.
Well, not so much. I mean, you can just pay for an Inception workshop as a process of brainstorming with your stakeholders, and sort of, the cost of the Inception is the Inception for the people's time and for the actual, because you may through the process of the inception workshop, realize that actually the kind of very, very complex software that you thought you needed isn't actually needed at all. And actually, you only need a very subtle intervention that will save you huge amounts of money, rather than going off, elephanting off in this other direction. So at least an inception, which can be 2 days or 3 days, depending upon the scale of the thing, is really all about getting to the bottom of the problem. It's not about building any software. It's the design sprints where you're doing rapid prototyping of the software and you're trying it out with the users.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So the inception workshop is just the workshop. Yeah. Okay. Point taken. All right. Well, we take the guarantee out for now, and then we'll see how it goes. And we can look at specific situation as it arises. Yeah. No sweat.
Yep.
Okay, good. Good. Oh, and by the way, any news from Harrow?
The latest thing that they've said to me, I mean, this what's it called? The consortium with the lottery money. They say they're going to be starting the project in September, and I'm hoping that we're going to be included in the budget in September. So I'm waiting to hear about that. Nothing more from the council at this time.
Okay. Okay. So this is something with the lottery money. This is the Harrow Community Network getting lottery money, and so basically having more money to spend with you.
Yeah. So it's the Harrow. So there's a consortium of local Harrow charities that put in a lottery funding bid and got money. I mean, partly the reason that I even mention it is because the fact that they've received the money, the council, I think, is getting. Oh, right. Actually, if those guys have got lottery money, we don't have to pay anything. We'll get them to do it all for us. So
they would. Yeah. What I'd be inclined to do is to. I would build on that as a strategy. So that basically what I would do is that I would come up with, working with Harrow Community Network, come up with a plan which basically spends all the consortium money and then just happens to have extra money needed to do bigger and better things that are really attractive to people in the council. So basically it means that they spend some of their money, but they spend less.
Yes.
And by definition, they're spending it with you, and then spending it with the Do It consortium.
Yes, that's great. That's the kind of thing. So Steve, who's the consortium guy, that's exactly the way he thinks. So yes.
Okay.
Great.
Good.
Okay.
We're pretty well done on this, then, are we?
I think on the playbook, yes. I think we've cleared up the and it's it's a prototyping is in the design sprint, not the inception workshop. So I think, yes, I think we're pretty clear there. Okay.
Good.
Yeah. So you've sent me some other you got the email. You had some agenda items in the email, and also the spreadsheet to look at.
Just before we go there, I've just a couple of questions in there. I've said at if your requirement involves a website. Oh, right. No, that's fine. No, sorry, my mistake. Okay, let's move on then.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's the one interesting distinction that sort of comes up through the document is this idea of, are there circumstances where people are so sure what they need, they just want a single page website that says bananas, and they really, really don't need anything else, that the whole process of trying to exploring their needs is kind of redundant, and they're saying, like, look, can you just build us this? We don't care. We just want to give you like a specification, and we don't want to talk to you about actually what it is. And I think we should be cautious about taking on those kind of things. But I was starting to refer to that using the term of a straight build. Is that if people want to go straight from like an initial meeting to a straight build, we can in principle do that, but I think the whole point is that in the long run, doing the inception and the design sprints and so on will actually get something that will meet their needs rather than something that actually doesn't do what they want. But
you see, this agile is quite a learning for me, because in HP and Dell we did very much fixed function contracts.
Yes.
And so you had a situation where you know, I did my jolly proposal and everybody said, oh, that's fantastic. And then we literally, on many occasions, we spent weeks and weeks going through the nits and grits of converting the proposal into a statement of work.
Yes.
And it would take 3-4 meetings. There'd be really key points, and there'd always be some sort of horrendous thing that needed mass sorting out.
Yeah.
So you go from the enthusiasm of all ready to start, and then 10 later, everyone's sick and tired of it by the time you actually can start and it's all signed off. So the agile thing we're talking about here is really exciting because it means we avoid all that stuff.
Right.
And I've had a couple of situations where, you know, I think I've been more dictatorial about the need for a tech, for a specification.
Indeed.
And subsequent to this, and I think it's caused some problems.
Right.
So the flexibility that you're offering with Agile here is really exciting. And I think from discussions I've had with people that there's a lot of people who say all we need is this single page website, like the Agile Ventures one you've done.
Right. Yes.
But the learning for me there is that I asked for something, you haven't actually implemented exactly what I asked for. Right. I looked at it and I thought, wow, okay. Yes, I'm interested in some of the principles that you might have left out, and that's been the discussion. But in terms of the layout and what's disappeared, you know, it's been a real learning experience because we could have wasted a huge amount of time me specifying stuff that was irrelevant. So with this single-page website, what I've been doing is basically, you know, the real fantastic thing would be to sort of send someone around or send the programming pair round to the customer's site in London.
Yes.
And they work on it, not with people watching over their shoulder, but they do a bit of work and then they say to the customer, well, look, pop over here and have a look at this. And the customer says, oh, right, okay. So they're really actually sitting in the office doing it. So that over a couple of days, there's change from what the original idea was to something that the guys have really influenced.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, and that's the sort of approach that Pivotal Labs uses, and they actually combine that with even, you know, kind of pairing one of their guys with one of the programmers at the company, and they actually collaborate together in creating the thing. So it's and I think, you know, in the commercial world, it's doing, you know, it's doing very well, and you know, Pivotal has opened offices around the world and is doing extremely well, as are, you know, ThoughtBot and ThoughtWorks and other people who are adopting the same. What I would say is, in the context of the single page website that we made, there was an extent to which also, unlike in some situations, myself and Michael working on it, we're also very strong stakeholders in the Agile Ventures brand. So in other circumstances, we might have cloven more clearly to the specification, but I think what you're saying is fundamentally correct, because what we could have done is we could have passed that Word document backwards and forwards, you know, over the course of 3 weeks, kind of as it were, negotiating the specification before finally building it. But this is the thing, is it's by actually putting it on the page where you can interact with it and move it around, and then you can see it on the mobile device, is where all of those things that you couldn't necessarily anticipate come out. And that's exactly what the Agile approach is about doing. It's about teasing those things out rather than wasting time on negotiating things that are going to be redundant in the actual implementation.
Yeah. So the great news is that, you know, I came to this with a sort of a bit of a bad experience on another project, and I was the extent to which I caused that. And through this project, you putting together the website, you've actually persuaded me that the Agile approach is better.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good to hear. And in fact, so that the interesting thing. You're most welcome. It's great to hear. The interesting thing is, if I just mentioned that this big course that we're running is all about that. It's all about trying to introduce to the world, or to more of the world, what the Agile development is. And the first week is a lot about explaining the difference between what we call big design up front, or plan and document, which is the process that you've used in the past, and the Agile approach. So anyway, yes, but let's move on. Go on.
Okay. So, no, just the other thing is that the pair programming with the customer and yourself, why don't you write that in as a paragraph into the guide?
Okay.
Because that is so powerful.
We will. I think, yes, we can add that as an option. I think it's the kind of thing that we would need to be very careful setting up, but let's we can certainly add that as a possibility.
It's just a line at the bottom of the pair programming section, not at the top. Yeah, good. Yeah. Okay.
Great. So, should we work through your email? You've got a few points. Did you want to look at the spreadsheet first, or you've got also? Well, maybe we could knock out these. You said it would also be good to discuss your email address, business card, title, and so on.
Okay.
Because I think we can knock those out of the way pretty quickly.
Okay. How far away? How do you guys operate?
Well, I mean, we can easily give you, for example, we can give you Charles at agileventures.org.
Yeah.
Now,
can I easily integrate that with the rest of my emails?
Well, potentially. There's two different levels. We can give you a forwarding address, but we can also give you a full, hosted email address. So
right.
I mean,
So I think
what email software do you use? Gmail? No. What do you use for your BT Internet.org? You use the Apple Mail, do you?
Right. I use BT Internet, right?
Right.
And the problem is what I've normally done, which is not very good really. I get the mails forwarded from, for example, the Agile Ventures account, but then when I reply from BT Internet, and it looks a bit for this Agile Ventures thing, it looks a bit crap. So I think I better go with the hosted email, but it means I've got to log into it.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Well, I think it's relatively trivial for me to set up a hosted email address for you, and we will over the next few weeks we'll experiment with making sure that you can use and you can send emails that has the right footer and so on. So.
Okay. Right, then the business card. Do you have business cards?
We don't at the moment. If you have a template, I mean, basically, if you want to create a business card that will have, the URL and your email address and so on, that's fine. We haven't so far created business cards for anybody in the business, but I'm very happy to like.
The business cards are incredibly important. I mean, I go along to lots of these events at Google and all over the place, and everybody sprays their business cards over everybody. And so the business card that I have, I think I gave you one, but but what I like is the idea of having the key sales message on it. So for example, it would need to say the key thing, and also I like the idea of having something on the back, which is very trendy these days.
Sure.
So
I think whatever you think you need, we will work it out and make sure you've got it.
Yeah, and we need a card also. I mean, what actually is your title?
Well, I am in various levels, sort of CEO, co-founder, and I'm also chairman of the board of trustees.
CEO, co-founder. Okay. Do you want to put chairman of the board of trustees on as well?
Yeah, I think that makes sense, given that we're a charity.
Right. Great. Because I think what's really important is if you and I do a meeting together with a client, then to have your card, which is similar, similar messaging, but your title of CEO, co-founder, that's so powerful. Yeah.
Great.
That's that one. Okay, so what about my title?
Well, what would you like? Were you thinking of head of sales?
What about sales and head of sales and marketing?
Yeah. I think whatever you think will, we don't. I think whatever you think will, sound right for the people that we're going to be talking to initially.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go with head of sales and marketing. That's okay, right?
Yep.
Now, do we want any? Just thinking with the card, do you want any personal messaging? So, for example, your personal messaging is around, agile software development, whatever. My personal messaging is around additional messaging, sort of around entrepreneur, business consultant.
Well, why don't you do yours, and then I will reflect on how mine might be different.
Brilliant. Okay, job done. Yep. Super. That's all done.
Yeah. Okay. So then, so should we look at this spreadsheet?
Yeah. That's the tricky one.
Okay. So, do you want to talk me through it, or should I pick out points that note to me.
Yeah. So where I'm coming from here is that this is really. Hang on. I've lost. I've got too many screens open. I've lost you now.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you? Okay. Where have you gone? Hold on.
One thing you might find is if you're in Chrome, you can hold down the Command key and hit the little tilde key, and it will rotate you through the different Chrome tabs.
Okay, all right. I think I can't see you. I can see me, but I can see the spreadsheet. I can see you. Anyway, don't worry. Okay, so with this spreadsheet, then what? I'm just looking at the day rates because this is the fundamental principle. So what wasn't clear to me, you kindly sent me the stuff about the Inception workshop and design for Harrow, and then you sent me the spreadsheet about the hours per point and hourly rate per pair, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
The way I'm looking at this in this spreadsheet is I really look at this as basically the cost of the people. So. So what I'm saying is, look, I think we need. I'm thinking of this in terms of what do we pay to the people, what are the markups, what do the markups cover, and hence producer price.
Yes.
So I mean, talking with people, talking with Brian and others. This is now lines 25 to 31. So basically, Brian and others seem to be happy with numbers in the region of them being actually paid £10 to £15 an hour.
Well,
what do you have in mind here?
I mean, you know, I think that what we've also been pushing towards is saying that we're sort of paying per story point. Although in this context here, this is, what is this? So that's the project. There, that's so. I mean, I think that the time per hour makes sense for a kind of fixed time thing like the Inception event, and to a certain extent the design sprint, where there's kind of not necessarily any stories being any production code being generated, and this is basically we're asking people to give up a certain amount of their time to be involved in these events, and that's one thing. In terms of the the actual project itself, we can try and boil it down to approximate numbers, but I think, and as we've now got in the playbook, what we would be looking to be doing is charging people per story point rather than per the number of hours that the individual, but in particular the developers and the senior developers are doing.
Absolutely. Totally agree. We've gone with the story point thing, and you're happy with that. The purpose of looking at it on a per hour basis is I think that it's much easier to see the fundamental principles, because I'm not I've written the story point stuff, but I'm not very good with it. So if we get the principles established on the hourly rates, then we can convert the whole model to the story points.
Right.
So basically, if we take someone like Brian, or where is Brian? Is he standard or senior?
I mean, I think Brian will be somebody certainly on the project lead level. I mean, the thing to be aware of here, I think, is as you probably know, £10 an hour is the minimum wage, and the developers in general will get paid a lot more than this as individuals.
Okay.
So, but
so let's go with Brian then. So Brian as project lead, I put down £20 an hour.
Yeah.
So what do you think? I mean, this is what we pay. This is what we pay to him.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I think that's something I would need to discuss with Brian about what would be worthwhile for him to make sense. I'll actually be seeing Brian and Thomas in person tonight, so maybe this is something that I can discuss with them rather than saying that signing off on this particular number.
Okay, so I mean the conversation I had with Brian, my impression was at the time he was willing to lower figure, more like sort of 15 or whatever.
Oh, maybe so. Yeah.
But I mean, the standard, yeah, £10. The minimum wage is a bit less than £10 an hour. Yeah, but what? I mean, for the basic, which is
no, you're right. I mean, it is. So sorry, I'm getting confused because yes, I remember us rounding up to £10.
£10 an hour is the minimum I would be prepared to pay to somebody in London. Yes. I mean, £7.20.
I think the living wage is it.
Yeah,
isn't it? Yes.
So basically, what's your lowest number here? The standard number. Are you happy with £10, or do you feel it should be higher than that?
I think we can certainly say £10. I think we can certainly say £10. I think for the people that we've got who are the real junior developers in terms of the value that they will add to the project, I don't have a problem with this number.
Brilliant. Good. Okay, so basically, if you can give some thought to in principle, then do you think the sort of 10, 15, 20 for the team? I mean, you talk about it tonight, but are we sort of in the right ballpark with those?
Maybe. I think it's difficult. It's difficult to say because particularly it comes back to this thing that I think in the first project that we do, we're going to be agreeing to the storyboards, and we're going to be saying to the senior and the stand-up people is that you're going to get paid for the amount that you complete, and then it's sort of up to them how many hours they have to put in to get that done. So we're sort of, I mean, maybe it's not very brave of us, but we're sort of pushing onto them a question of their estimating thing of saying we'll pay you for the completion of this thing, and how many hours do you think it will take? So yeah, I mean, if we look back at have I got that one? Go on, you can say.
Yeah, I mean, well, let's just if we're sort of you're looking at that. So the conversation we had the other week seemed to be an indication that you would want £50 an hour cost, or I got a bit confused.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's my that's my consulting rates that I would usually be looking for. I mean, I think. Go on.
Is that your selling price, or is that your take-home money?
Do you want to explain the difference to me?
Well, basically, are you charging the customer £50, or is that your check that is that the money? Is that your hourly rate for yourself? Because this is is that the rate paid to you or the rate charged to the customer?
That would be the rate that I would charge to the customer.
Oh, right. So how much do you want to take home then?
Well, as much of that as I can, basically. But so I would be, this would be money. I work entirely not to me personally, but through my company. So this is the rate that I would charge through my company.
Okay, so if we just hop up to the top, then if we look at lines 14 to 20, right? Yeah. And what I've got in mind here is a series of markups. So this is coming very much from the way that HP and Dell work.
Okay.
So line 14, right? Mm-hmm. This is this profit, basically. I'm calling it income over cost.
Okay.
And it allows the income over cost, the profit, basically in this organization, allows investment in setting up stuff, events, marketing, right?
Okay.
Then HP was huge on contingency, right?
Right.
So contingency basically is the cock-ups where you end up giving away effort to customers because they got valid complaints.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The third one is sales commission. So basically, I don't want to do that much selling because I want to be sort of moving forward with other stuff. So we need to bring other people who will be selling it. So this is not just personal, but the way these projects look is that there may be going to be sort of smaller projects, and the commission then, as you can see here, commission works. This is all done as markup and the percentage of total price. So there's a sales commission, then there's an admin element, which is all the faffing around with invoicing, paying people, web hosting, all that sort of stuff. Then the one I'm not sure about. Is the management? So basically, the management meetings with influencers, not meeting prospects but influencers, and then basically, if there's some money left over here, then it can be paid out as a sort of bit of a dividend to people. But the The one I'm really not sure about is, like, on a project, you've got a load of people doing work. Now, you've put in the example you've put a bit of time in from yourself to work on the project. So are your hours going towards the project, or are you going to be a management overhead line?
Well, I think that would depend. So, you know, in the first instance, you know, in order to ensure, you know, our first project is highly successful and, you know, has got good upsell opportunities, you know, I might be looking to take on the project lead, but that is not where I would want to see myself ultimately. You know, is I would be, you know, handing off that project lead to other people. So I think it's, you know, there's a big difference between what might happen in the first instance and what would happen on a regular basis once, you know, things are running smoothly. And again, so it comes back to this issue that we have, as we were talking about, in terms of planning it in detail up front versus the agile approach, is I think there's an extent to which, you know, it's difficult to answer questions accurately until we have more information about, you know, the operation of running projects.
So what these numbers mean is that basically, if we pay Brian £20 an hour as project lead, and the way that this works out is that we charge Brian then at £40. So we charge the customer £40, and then you've got for that £40 an hour, you've got a profit of £4, you've got contingency of £4, sales commission of £4, admin £4, and management £4.
Yes.
So we're well covered, very well
for all the different things. Sure. Yes, and I mean that I can see that makes, you know, wonderful sense. Whether that's practical, I mean it makes wonderful sense on the large scale. I mean the model that I have in the, you know, that you may have seen in the estimate was about having an overhead rate, which is, you know, to sort of cover those things. So that the overhead rate that we've used in the past is 15%. And here you're, you know, with these things, you're going for 100%. So it's, yeah, you know, I can see absolutely, to the extent that we are running you know, I imagine at a point in the future when we're running a sales and marketing team, you know, when we're, you know, doing a lot of selling, we're doing a lot of, you know, exploring possibilities, you know, we've got a lot of, you know, existing apps that are deployed that, you know, people are coming back and saying there's this issue. Absolutely, then this kind of what I would call this is an overhead rate, from my point of view, you're calling it the markup, then having it this high makes sense. Whether it's practical to sustain that on the first project is another matter. I mean, I get the feeling that, yeah, I mean, it's nice to have this and to be talking about what are the kind of you know, numbers we need to be showing to a client in order to make sure that all of the different eventualities are covered. You know, I think that what we can actually get away with is going to vary, you know, to a great degree on client per client.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, from your point of view, you're saying that this is having this kind of markup would make you feel comfortable.
I'd be very comfortable. So let's talk then about what we could delete. I mean, you know, the HP puts 15% in just for contingency, Sam.
Sure.
So I mean, maybe the numbers here I've put in are too high. I mean, do we need any contingency?
Well, I think the argument is that you know, in a situation when you're doing this big design up front and that the thing that gets built may not match the specification, or the specification has gone out of date by the time that it gets built, then a high contingency value is sensible. I mean, I think in the first instance for us, it's kind of sensible to think about contingency, but I think that we might, you know, it's kind of the process of doing the first project is the thing that will tell us what the contingency level should be set at. So I mean, I think, you know, if we can get people to pay at this overall level, that's fantastic, and we should go in doing it in much the same way as we were discussing in the context of the guarantee thing. You know, I think what we probably want to do is go in being conservative, and rather than pitching, I think overall to say that the whole thing is about you're getting access to developers around the world, and so that there'll be less cost. I think more we want to go in with saying like, this is, you know, we have this agile approach that's more likely to build what you need, and so in the long run, because we've built what you wanted, then it's actually going to be more affordable. So you'll get much better value for money. So I think, you know, I'm happy to keep these things in the context, and I would say it's probably not worth too much worrying about whether we should have contingency or not in the first instance. Like what we should be seeing is if when we're taking prices to customers, if the customers are saying, oh well, that's wonderfully affordable, fantastic, let's have them pay. If they're saying, well, that's all a bit too expensive for me, then that's the thing that we should have pressuring us, you know, to like see where we can cut costs.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, let's sort of go with this then. So let's come back then to the question. I mean, I've just set the number for me as being the same as for you.
Sure.
Yeah? So my number is just the same as yours.
Yeah.
So basically, so coming down to what you want to, what is your take-home pay? What do you want per hour? So in this model here, basically, you know, then if with this model, if your charge out rate is £50, then you take home only £25. So maybe you want your take home pay to be more like 35, charge out at 70.
So you're saying here that these numbers are at the 200% rate. So like if we were saying £10, but at least from the way you've written it, it seems to me here that if this is the hourly rates to be paid gross to our staff, then if this holds, that we're using that markup, then all of these figures would be doubled for the purpose of this project. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So we would be effectively charging customers £100 an hour for my time, and then the money being paid to my company for my time would be £50 an hour.
Yeah. So maybe that's too high. So I mean, if for Brian, then the project lead, the price would be £40. So obviously you're worth more than that. So are you worth basically your take-home pay? Is it 30, 35, or 40 rather than 50? Well,
it seems to me to be funny to negotiate that, you know, to put a figure in here. I would say, you know, let's leave you and I at these. Let me discuss with the other developers.
Okay.
You know, like, I think if we've got other developers and people saying, well, you know, I'd be willing to take a, I mean, that sounds, you know, give or take, you know, reasonable for a charity, yeah, maybe, or what have you. Then I think, you know, let's leave it and go with it. We have these all doubled. We can use this as a framework for which we may generate aspects of the, you know, the estimates that we give for the bespoke builds and so on. But we don't need to show this specifically to customers, because really we should be, of course, working from, you know, the StoryPoint model anyhow. So
well, yeah, we have said in the guide there that we will give day rates where they are applicable.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, well, and I'm for you know, the design sprint and the inception event, absolutely.
Yeah. Brilliant. Yeah. All right. Well, if you're happy with this, I'm happy with this. What I like about this, Sam, is that, you know, potentially we've easily got a 20% discount on this number, because if you say, well, okay, we won't worry about the contingency, we won't worry about the management effort, so you've easily got 20% discount, which is always good to have in your back pocket for people who want to haggle.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Brilliant. Good. And I mean, what I like about it is that it's got all the markups in there. HP would be really happy with this. Yeah.
Okay. And I noticed that you've got a separate column here. Is that just, what's this column here?
Well, that's basically, you know, this is the markup. So the markup is 20%, but as a percentage of total price.
Oh, I see. I got you. Yep. This is like of the, if 100% is equal to the total cost, then this is what proportion of the cost would be each of these areas. Yeah.
Waitrose make 4% on everything spent. So if you go to Waitrose spend £100, then they would make £4. So the markup as a percentage of total price for Waitrose is 4%. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So these numbers all okay. If you're happy with this, good. Yeah, let's go.
Well, as I say, I mean, I think I'm happy with this as a starting place. I'll be talking with Brian and Thomas this evening about. We'll look through this, and I'll come back to you with feedback. on it.
So I've got my junior business consultant, my trusty assistant. Yeah, I've nailed her at £10 an hour, so
sure.
she'd be over the moon to do this.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, so is there anything else on your agenda today?
No, I think I'm good. This is looking really, really good. I'm really excited. I'm really excited by this because I think that we can, I think we can do this. I've made good progress with the separately with the PDF. So PDF's coming on well, and the blog is coming on well. So I think all we do really is just to say, look, when do we speak next? And I'll get the drafts over to you.
Yes. Well, so I think in principle we could move, we could speak next week, 10 a.m. on Wednesday. Just thinking. Yes. I mean, and what I would say is, if you want to experiment with Google Docs, I'm very happy to take responsibility to turn any Google Doc into a PDF document. But I'll leave it with you.
Which do you prefer? Do you prefer Google Docs or do you prefer Pages? Because
I think I would prefer Google Docs because I think if we, and don't worry about spending time trying to convert a large existing document into Pages unless you're interested in doing so. Basically, I think if we're in Google Docs, basically it means we can stay in Google Docs. We can export to any other format. And in particular PDF, and we also have, it's very easy to allow others to make, comments on, and have the kind of discussion that you saw we were having on the CIO application. So
okay, look, I'll have a go at Google Docs. So what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to work in Word because I understand Word. I'm then going to put the whole thing into. Oh no, I've got a problem with Wednesday. I've got this conflicts a bit with the dentist. So. Do you have any other flexibility on Wednesday or Tuesday morning?
Let's see. Well, shall we say let's put it to Tuesday 10 a.m. next week, and let's see. We can confirm. Later.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Okay. And I guess only I think we're about to. I mean, the only question I've got. So in terms of the July 8th release, I mean, you'll have the website that's the card as well. I mean, presumably you've got a plan in your mind for what you would be doing in the weeks subsequently. Just if you could just spend a couple of minutes and tell me what you're thinking are the next steps that you would be taking at that point.
Okay. Well, the key thing really is to get some messaging out to some influencers. Yeah. So a big influencer is Julie Dodd.
Right.
So Julie Dodd was on the charities event, which I logged into on Periscope from home.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get this technology to work. So,
that's right.
So to message to her and some other people that I've met. So basically, to say to influencers that we are here. I think it would be really good as part of the plan to go to. So you're in touch with Makers Academy, aren't you?
I have a relationship with Makers Academy. Yes, I know Makers Academy. Yeah, you were saying something. You're hoping to do guest blogs in different places.
So Makers Academy, it'd be good to get them to carry our blog. Do you think they would do that?
I think that's something I could discuss with them. We would see. Yes, I mean, I think Craft Academy will almost certainly.
Craft Academy. Sorry, Craft Academy. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Let's go with. Sorry, I got the wrong one. Let's go with get the blog on Craft Academy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makers Academy maybe. So influencers, and then basically people, just people making people aware. So trying to get this on, like there's a smaller charities organisation. There's New Philanthropy Capital. Basically, people like this.
Okay.
To just to get them to email these guys, get an email list going, try and get them. So the simplest level is an email list. Then really the influencers, blogs, and then try and get some, try and get sort of maybe interview with yourself, this sort of thing.
Okay. Yeah. So you're seeing that the process is effectively there's sort of a launch and then getting it out there, and you're not thinking of specific charities to target. You're more sort of just spreading the message and then seeing who shows an interest.
At this stage, yeah, the question of targeting charities, I've not thought really, not yet been thinking about that. I mean, we could, you know, we could have a go.
Yeah, no worry. I mean, I leave the strategy there in your hands. You know, I mean, we've got, I do have, you know, there's the group that we had coming to the charity jamborees before, but I think, yeah, this sounds like a great first step. Let's get everything.
Do you have a mailing list of charities?
Well, no, I have a group of charities who signed up to get you know, to have the option to present their charity projects to students in the past. And I mean, I've also, you know, I'm going to be recruiting charities to serve as clients for this Part 3 project course that we've got coming up. So anyway, I think you know,
just tell me about that one, because that's
well,
just explain.
I would tell you about that. Unfortunately, I've got a meeting at my son's new school, which I can't be late for. So maybe that's something we can talk about a bit more.
Let's talk about
next week. I think we've covered the critical stuff today, and yeah, I've got a sense for it. Yeah, great. Okay, well, I'll look forward to chatting to you next week. Thanks, Charles.
Thanks, Sam. Excellent. Cheers. Bye.
All right. Bye for now. Take care.
Okay. Bye.